The Legend of Zelda series is known for its intricate lore and storytelling, involving various characters, realms, and timelines. The main characters usually include Link, the protagonist, Zelda, the Princess of Hyrule, and Ganon, or Ganondorf, the primary antagonist. The series often revolves around the Triforce, a powerful artifact that grants wishes. However, the story is not continuous from game to game in a traditional sense. Instead, there are different timelines, alternate realities, reincarnations, and even parallel universes. The games don't necessarily follow a strict chronological order and sometimes take place hundreds of years apart. Each game is typically self-contained with its own story, but they often contain references, characters, and themes from other games in the series. This interconnection creates a rich tapestry of lore that has been built upon with each new game in the franchise. However, I'll outline the plots of the main games in the series. The Legend of Zelda, released in 1986 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, set the foundation for the series' lore and gameplay. The game is set in the Kingdom of Hyrule. The Triforce, a sacred golden relic left by the gods, has been split into two parts, the Triforce of Power and the Triforce of Wisdom. The evil Prince of Darkness, Ganon, invades Hyrule and steals the Triforce of Power, which grants him incredible strength. Princess Zelda, the ruler of Hyrule, foresees Ganon's invasion and splits the Triforce of Wisdom into 8 fragments, scattering them in hidden dungeons throughout the kingdom to prevent Ganon from obtaining it. Before she is kidnapped by Ganon, she orders her nursemaid, Impa, to find a courageous individual capable of defeating Ganon. Impa escapes and finds herself surrounded by Ganon's henchmen, but is saved by a young boy named Link. Upon hearing of Zelda's plight, Link decides to recover the 8 fragments of the Triforce of Wisdom, defeat Ganon, and rescue Princess Zelda. Link traverses Hyrule, finding the fragments in various dungeons filled with monsters and dangerous traps. Each dungeon holds a piece of the Triforce and is guarded by a powerful creature. Along the way, Link also collects several items and weapons that aid him in his quest. After assembling the complete Triforce of Wisdom, Link confronts Ganon in Death Mountain. Upon Ganon's defeat, Link recovers the Triforce of Power. He then uses the combined power of both Triforces to rescue Zelda, restoring peace to Hyrule. Zelda II. The Adventure of Link is a direct sequel to the original The Legend of Zelda, both developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The game was first released in Japan in 1987 and in North America and Europe in 1988. After defeating Ganon in the first game, Link, the hero of Hyrule, notices a strange mark similar to the crest of Hyrule on the back of his left hand. He seeks advice from Impa, Princess Zelda's nursemaid. Impa leads him to a door that has been sealed for generations. She places Link's hand on the door, and it opens, revealing a sleeping princess who is also named Zelda. This Princess Zelda is not the same one that Link had previously rescued. Instead, she is an ancestor of the Zelda from the first game. Impa then tells Link an old legend. Long ago, the king of Hyrule had a sister, Zelda, who possessed knowledge of the Triforce's whereabouts. The king's wizard, consumed by greed, tried to interrogate her, but when she refused to reveal anything, the wizard put her into an eternal sleep. Overcome by guilt, the king decreed that all princesses in Hyrule should be named Zelda henceforth, in memory of the tragedy. The sleeping Zelda can only be awakened by the power of the Triforce of Courage, which is hidden in the Great Palace and protected by a binding force. The Triforce of Courage can only be approached by someone who has proven themselves by placing 6 crystals in the 6 palaces scattered throughout Hyrule. With the task clear, Link sets off on his adventure. He travels across Hyrule, defeating monsters and overcoming trials in the 6 palaces. In each palace, he places a crystal, slowly breaking the binding force that protects the Triforce of Courage. Along the way, he gains experience and improves his abilities, learning magical spells and sword techniques to aid him in his quest. After placing all 6 crystals, Link ventures to the Great Palace, where he faces the final guardian, his own shadowy doppelganger known as Dark Link. After a hard-fought battle, Link defeats Dark Link and claims the Triforce of Courage. With all 3 parts of the Triforce assembled, Link returns to the sleeping Zelda. The power of the Triforce awakens her, and peace is once again restored to Hyrule. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, originally released in 1991 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, is the 3rd installment in the series, and a prequel to the first 2 games. The game opens with a young boy named Link receiving a telepathic message from Princess Zelda. She's being held captive in the castle dungeon by an evil wizard named Aghanim, who has already transformed the other 6 maidens, descendants of the 7 sages, into crystals and banished them into the dark world. Link's uncle, who lives with him, arms himself with a sword and shield and heads to the castle, telling Link to stay in bed. Ignoring his uncle's advice, Link follows him to the castle. He finds his uncle severely wounded in the castle dungeons. With his dying words, Link's uncle tells him to rescue Princess Zelda, handing him a sword and a shield. Link navigates the castle and rescues Zelda from her cell, leading her through the underground sewers and out to a sanctuary, where a priest and his assistant are waiting. The priest tells Link about the legend of the Triforce and the Sacred Realm. The Triforce was sealed in the Sacred Realm to prevent evil forces from obtaining it, and the entrance to the realm was sealed by the 7 sages. Aghanim intends to break the seal by sending the descendants of the 7 sages into the dark world. Link's mission becomes clear. He must prevent Aghanim from breaking the seal and releasing the power of the Triforce. To do this, he must obtain the Master Sword, a blade capable of defeating Aghanim. The sword is hidden in the Lost Woods, and to prove his worthiness to wield it, Link must first retrieve 3 magical pendants. After gaining the pendants and the Master Sword, Link confronts Aghanim in Hyrule Castle. However, Aghanim sends Link to the Dark World, which is a corrupted version of Hyrule. In the Dark World, Link must rescue the 7 maidens from dungeons scattered across the land. Each maiden, once freed, adds her power to Link's, preparing him for the final battle with Aghanim and, ultimately, Ganon, who is revealed to be the true antagonist behind Aghanim's actions. After defeating Aghanim a second time, Ganon's spirit leaves the wizard's body and flees to the Pyramid of Power in the Dark World. Link follows and confronts Ganon, and after an intense battle, Link defeats Ganon and claims the Triforce. With the Triforce in his possession, Link wishes for Hyrule to be restored to its peaceful state. The maidens, the king, and Link's uncle are all resurrected, and peace is restored to Hyrule. The game ends with Link returning the Master Sword to its pedestal in the Lost Woods, its duty fulfilled. A Link to the Past is often considered one of the greatest video games of all time and established many of the series' recurring elements and motifs, such as the concept of a parallel or alternate world, the Master Sword, and a more complex storyline. The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, originally released in 1993 for the Game Boy and later remade for the Nintendo Switch in 2019, is the 4th installment in the series. This game is unique in that it takes place outside of Hyrule and doesn't feature Princess Zelda or the Triforce. The game begins with the Link sailing on a ship in the midst of a terrible storm. Struck by lightning, Link's ship is destroyed, and he is washed ashore on the mysterious Koholint Island. Link is found and nursed back to health by Marin, a girl who bears a striking resemblance to Princess Zelda, and her father, Tarin. Link learns from a mysterious owl that the only way to leave the island is to wake the Windfish, a deity who is currently in a deep sleep inside a giant egg atop Mount Tamaranch. To awaken the Windfish, Link must collect the 8 instruments of the sirens and play the Ballad of the Windfish. As Link journeys across Koholint Island, he explores complex dungeons filled with dangerous creatures and intricate puzzles. In each dungeon, he retrieves one of the 8 instruments needed to awaken the Windfish. Along the way, he interacts with various characters on the island, helping them with their problems and learning more about the nature of the island and the Windfish. However, as he progresses, Link learns a disturbing truth. Koholint Island is actually a dream of the Windfish. If the Windfish awakens, the entire island and its inhabitants will cease to exist. Despite this unsettling revelation, Link presses on, knowing that waking the Windfish is his only way to escape the island. After obtaining all 8 instruments, Link climbs Mount Tamaranch and plays the Ballad of the Windfish, cracking open the egg. Inside, he faces off against the game's final boss, the Nightmare, a creature trying to keep the Windfish asleep. After a fierce battle, Link defeats the Nightmare. With the Nightmare gone, Link plays the Ballad of the Windfish once again, and the Windfish awakens. True to what Link was told, the island of Koholint fades away, and Link finds himself adrift in the ocean on a piece of wreckage from his ship, with the Windfish flying overhead. Link's Awakening is unique in its departure from the traditional Legend of Zelda setting and characters, offering a story that's a bit more introspective and melancholic than other games in the series. It's also notable for its numerous references to other Nintendo franchises, such as Super Mario Bros. And Kirby. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, released in 1998 for the Nintendo 64, is the fifth main installment in the series and often considered one of the greatest video games of all time. It's the first game in the franchise to feature 3D graphics. In the game, you play as a young boy named Link, who lives in the Kokiri Forest, a woodland area where children never age. One day, the great Deku Tree, the guardian spirit of the forest, summons Link and tells him of a wicked man from the desert who has cursed him. Link defeats the monster inside the great Deku Tree, but the tree's death is already sealed. With its last breath, the great Deku Tree gives Link the spiritual stone of the forest and instructs him to find Princess Zelda in Hyrule Castle. After meeting Princess Zelda, Link learns about Ganondorf, the Gerudo King of Thieves, who seeks the Triforce, a sacred relic that can grant the wishes of its holder. To prevent Ganondorf from obtaining it, Link embarks on a quest to collect the 3 spiritual stones that can open the door of time, the gateway to the sacred realm where the Triforce is kept. Link retrieves the remaining 2 spiritual stones from Death Mountain, held by the Gorons, and Zora's Domain, held by the Zoras. However, when he returns to Hyrule Castle, he finds it under attack by Ganondorf. Princess Zelda and her caretaker Impa flee the castle, but not before Zelda throws the Ocarina of Time, another key to the sacred realm, into the castle moat for Link to retrieve. Link uses the Ocarina and the spiritual stones to open the door of time, revealing the Master Sword. As Link pulls the sword from its pedestal, he is sealed away for 7 years. This happens because he was too young to be the hero of time, the one destined to wield the Master Sword and defeat Ganondorf. 7 years later, Link awakens in the sacred realm and meets Rauru, one of the 7 sages who protect the entrance to the sacred realm. Rauru explains that when Link opened the door of time, Ganondorf entered the sacred realm and obtained the Triforce. However, the Triforce split into 3 pieces as Ganondorf's heart was not in balance. He kept the Triforce of Power, while the Triforce of Wisdom went to Princess Zelda and the Triforce of Courage to Link. Now an adult, Link is tasked with awakening the other 6 sages, who can combine their powers to seal Ganondorf away. He travels through time, using the Master Sword and the Ocarina to awaken the sages and free various parts of Hyrule from Ganondorf's influence. Once all the sages are awakened, Link confronts Ganondorf in his castle, which he built on the ruins of Hyrule Castle. After a series of battles, the sages use their power to seal Ganondorf in the sacred realm. As he's sealed away, Ganondorf swears revenge against their descendants. Princess Zelda uses the Ocarina of Time to send Link back to his original time, allowing him to live the years he lost. Ocarina of Time introduced numerous features and characters that would become mainstays in the franchise, including horseback riding, lock-on targeting, and characters such as Sheik, Ganondorf, and Epona. It's also a crucial game for the series' timeline, as the events in this game cause the timeline to split into 3 branches. One where Link is defeated, one following the timeline where Link is sent back to his childhood, Child Link timeline, and one where Link has sealed away Ganondorf and remains in the future, Adult Link timeline. 1. The Fallen Hero timeline. This is the timeline where Link, the hero of time, is defeated by Ganon in the final battle. In this timeline, Ganon obtains the full Triforce but is subsequently sealed away in the sacred realm by the 7 sages. This leads to events in A Link to the Past, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, Link's Awakening, A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, The Legend of Zelda, the original game, and The Adventure of Link. 2. Child Link, Timeline. After Ganondorf is sealed away, Princess Zelda sends Link back in time to relive the childhood he lost. In this timeline, Link warns Zelda and the King of Hyrule about Ganondorf's plans, leading to his arrest and eventual execution attempt, which sets off the events of Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords Adventures. 3. Adult Link timeline. In this timeline, Link has disappeared, having been sent back in time, leaving the kingdom without a hero when Ganondorf eventually breaks free from his seal. This leads to the flooding of Hyrule by the gods and sets the stage for the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit tracks. Each of these timelines follows a different set of adventures for Link, with varied incarnations of the hero and different outcomes for the Kingdom of Hyrule. The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, released in 2000 for the Nintendo 64, is the 6th main installment in the series. It follows Link on an adventure in a parallel world, with a unique time-based mechanic and darker themes compared to other games in the franchise. The game begins with Link, in his child form, after the events of Ocarina of Time, searching for his lost fairy companion Navi in the Lost Woods. He is ambushed by Skull Kid wearing Majora's Mask, a mysterious artifact with dark powers, and his two fairies, Tatl and Tael. Skull Kid steals Link's Ocarina of Time and transforms him into a Deku Scrub. Link follows Skull Kid into the parallel world of Termina, where he learns from the Happy Mask salesman that the world will be destroyed in 3 days by a falling moon, all caused by the mischief of Skull Kid under the influence of Majora's Mask. The salesman promises to return Link to his original form if Link retrieves Majora's Mask. Link manages to retrieve his stolen ocarina from Skull Kid at the dawn of the final day. Upon touching it, he recalls Princess Zelda teaching him the Song of Time. Playing this song, Link is able to return to the first day of his arrival in Termina, but remains in his Deku Scrub form. Link brings back the ocarina to the Happy Mask salesman, who teaches him the Song of Healing that purifies the curse on him and turns him back into a human. However, the mask salesman is furious when he learns that Link hasn't brought back Majora's Mask, and reveals that the mask is an ancient artifact that can bring catastrophe if not returned. Now understanding the severity of his task, Link sets out to retrieve Majora's Mask to prevent the moon from destroying Termina. He discovers that to reach Skull Kid, he must awaken the 4 sleeping giants in the 4 corners of Termina: Woodfall, Snowhead, Great Bay, and Akana Canyon. In each region, Link must undergo trials and tribulations to enter the temples and defeat the bosses within, thereby freeing the giants. Throughout his journey, Link helps many of Termina's inhabitants with their problems, using the Ocarina of Time to repeatedly reset the 3-day cycle to prevent the moon from crashing. After awakening all 4 giants, Link confronts Skull Kid on the final night at the top of the clock tower. The giants manage to halt the moon's descent, but Majora's Mask discards Skull Kid and retreats into the moon. Link follows it into the moon, which, contrary to its menacing exterior, contains a serene meadow with a single tree. Inside the moon, Link confronts Majora's Mask in a final battle. After a fierce fight, Link defeats Majora's Mask, thus saving Termina from destruction. The moon disappears, and a new day dawns. The Happy Mask salesman takes back Majora's Mask, now emptied of its evil power, and vanishes, stating that his work is done. Link, too, leaves Termina, resuming his search for Navi, while life in Termina returns to normal. Majora's Mask is known for its unique mechanics, darker undertones, and the emphasis on side quests and character interactions, making it a beloved and distinct installment in the Legend of Zelda series. The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons, released in 2001 for the Game Boy Color, is one of 2 games released simultaneously, the other being Oracle of Ages. Both games can be linked together for an overarching narrative, but each has its unique storyline and gameplay elements. The game begins with Link being transported by the Triforce to the land of Holodrum. He encounters Din, the Oracle of Seasons, dancing with a group of people. However, their joy is short-lived, as Onyx, General of Darkness, appears and kidnaps Din, causing the seasons in Holodrum to fall into chaos. Link learns from the Maku tree, guardian of Holodrum, that he must retrieve the 8 essences of nature scattered across the land to rescue Din and restore the natural order of the seasons. To aid him, Link receives the Rod of Seasons from the spirits of the season's 4 guardians. This item allows him to change the season when standing on a stump, which becomes a key gameplay mechanic. Link ventures through various dungeons and faces numerous challenges to collect the essences of nature. Each essence is guarded by a powerful boss, and obtaining an essence usually impacts the world in some way, opening new paths or influencing characters. During his journey, Link meets a variety of characters and helps them with their problems. He also encounters the Sorceress of Shadows, Varen, the main antagonist in Oracle of Ages. But their interaction is limited if the player is not playing a linked game. With all 8 essences of nature gathered, the Maku tree grows into a full tree, and a path to Onyx's castle is revealed. Link confronts Onyx, who reveals that he captured Din to cause chaos in the seasons and spread darkness across the land. He also discloses that he and Varen are agents of Twinrova, witches planning to resurrect the evil king, Ganon. In a climactic battle, Link defeats Onyx and rescues Din, restoring balance to the seasons of Holodrum. If the player is not playing a linked game, the adventure ends here with peace returning to the land. However, in a linked game, Link's journey continues into the land of Labrina, in Oracle of Ages. Oracle of Seasons is known for its unique mechanic of changing seasons to solve puzzles and navigate the environment. It is designed to be more action-oriented, in contrast to the puzzle-oriented Oracle of Ages. The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, released alongside Oracle of Seasons in 2001 for the Game Boy Color, takes place in the land of Labrina. The game focuses more on puzzle solving, with time travel being a central mechanic. In the land of Labrina, Link is brought by the Triforce to meet Nehru, the Oracle of Ages. Nehru is known for her beautiful singing, which attracts many people. Suddenly, Varen, Sorceress of Shadows, appears and possesses Nehru, who is also revealed to be the Oracle of Ages, with the power to control time. Varen uses Nehru's power to travel into the past and manipulate events to cause chaos in the present. This results in various anomalies, like a once small child in the present being an old man despite his grandfather still being in his middle ages. Impa, Princess Zelda's nurse, and a talking tree named the Maku tree instruct Link to set things right. The Maku tree gives Link the Harp of Ages, which allows him to travel between the present and the past. However, to fully utilize it, Link must learn various tunes throughout his journey. Link's primary mission is to collect the 8 essences of time hidden in dungeons across different time periods. Each dungeon requires extensive use of the time travel mechanic to solve puzzles and defeat enemies. Link must contend with Varen's machinations in both the present and the past. Once all 8 essences of time are collected, the Maku tree uses their power to create a huge Maku seed. This seed breaks the barrier around the Black Tower in the center of Labrina, where Varen is located. In the final confrontation, Link fights through the Black Tower and faces off against Varen, who shifts between multiple forms. Eventually, Link manages to exorcise Varen from Nehru and defeat her for good. With Varen's defeat, Nehru's control over time is restored, and all the anomalies caused by Varen's manipulation of the past are corrected. The game ends with Labrina at peace and Nehru, Impa, and Link together. However, if Oracle of Ages is being played as a linked game, connected with Oracle of Seasons, the ending shows Twinrova disappointed with Varen's failure, but deciding to move on to the final part of their plan to resurrect Ganon, setting the stage for the linked game's true final challenge. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past and Four Swords, was released for the Game Boy Advance in 2002 and consists of 2 separate games, a port of the classic Super Nintendo game, A Link to the Past, and a new multiplayer-focused game called Four Swords. In Four Swords, Princess Zelda takes Link to the Four Swords Sanctuary, worried about the seal weakening on Vati, the Wind Mage. Vati breaks free, kidnaps Zelda, and Link draws the Four Sword to counter him, splitting himself into 4 copies, 1 green, 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 purple. The 4 Links must work together to navigate through various levels, solving puzzles and defeating enemies. They must gather rupees and compete to see who can gather the most, with the winner being dubbed the Hero of Light for that level. The Links go through 3 main dungeons before facing off against Vati in his palace. They battle Vati in a 2-phase fight, eventually defeating him and rescuing Princess Zelda. With Vati defeated, the 4 Links place the Four Sword back in its pedestal, causing them to merge back into one. The game ends with Link and Zelda leaving the Four Sword Sanctuary, assured that Vati's seal will hold. Note that Four Swords was the first multiplayer Zelda game, designed for cooperative play through the Game Boy Advance's link cable. The game can also be played solo, with the player switching between the 2 Links. The Legend of Zelda. The Wind Waker, released in 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube, introduces a new art style and takes place in a vast sea dotted with islands. It follows the story of a new Link, hundreds of years after the events of Ocarina of Time. The game is set on Outset Island, where it's tradition for boys to wear green when they come of age to honor the legendary hero of time. Link, the protagonist, receives the green tunic on his birthday. However, his celebration is cut short when a gigantic bird kidnaps his younger sister, Aryll. Link joins Tetra, a pirate captain, and her crew to rescue Aryll. They find her in the Forsaken Fortress, but Link is thrown out to sea by the fortress's master, the Helmarok King, before he can save her. Link is rescued by a talking boat known as the King of Red Lions, who reveals that the bird's master is none other than Ganon, the evil being who the hero of time defeated long ago. To defeat Ganon and rescue Aryll, Link must find and wield the legendary Master Sword. Link journeys through various islands, collecting 3 goddess pearls to earn the god's favor. With the pearls, He raises the Tower of the Gods from the sea and conquers its trials, proving his worth to wield the Master Sword. Link finds the Master Sword in Hyrule Castle, hidden beneath the Great Sea. He pulls the blade from its pedestal, unknowingly lifting the seal on Ganon's power. With the Master Sword in hand, Link returns to the Forsaken Fortress, rescues Aril, and confronts Ganon. However, he finds that the Master Sword has lost its power to repel evil. To restore the Master Sword's power, Link awakens the descendants of the original sages of Earth and Wind, Medli and Makar. Their prayers rejuvenate the Master Sword, and Link sets out to assemble the Triforce of Courage, which will prove him to be the true hero of time. With the Triforce of Courage complete and the Master Sword's power restored, Link returns to Hyrule Castle. He finds Ganon holding Tetra captive, revealing that she is Princess Zelda, the holder of the Triforce of Wisdom. Link and Zelda eventually confront Ganon in his tower for the final battle. During the confrontation, the three pieces of the Triforce are brought together, summoning the King of Red Lions, who is revealed to be Daphne's Nohansen Hyrule, the last king of Hyrule. The king touches the Triforce and wishes for Hyrule to be washed away and for a future for Link and Zelda. In the final battle, Link defeats Ganon, turning him into stone. As the waters of the Great Sea flood Hyrule, the king stays behind, allowing Link and Zelda to return to the surface. The game ends with Link and Zelda setting sail to find a new land, marking the beginning of a new era for Hyrule. The Wind Waker is known for its unique cel-shaded art style and expansive sea-based exploration, giving it a distinct identity within the Legend of Zelda series. The Legend of Zelda. Four Swords Adventures, released for the GameCube in 2004, expands upon the multiplayer concept introduced in the Four Swords game for the Game Boy Advance. It can be played alone or with up to 4 players. The game begins with Link, Princess Zelda, and the 6 Shrine Maidens investigating dark clouds covering Hyrule. At the castle, they find a Shadow Link who kidnaps the maidens and Zelda. To fight this new enemy, Link draws the Four Sword, splitting him into 4 copies: green, red, blue, and purple. Link learns that Shadow Link was created by the Dark Mirror, which was stolen by a dark version of Link. The Shrine Maidens were taken to keep the portals to the mirror's location sealed. The 4 Links set out to rescue the Shrine Maidens, each trapped in a different region of Hyrule. Each region is divided into multiple stages, with the Links navigating through puzzles and enemies. At the end of each region, they defeat a boss and rescue a Shrine Maiden. Throughout their journey, the Links encounter Hyrule's inhabitants and deal with the effects of the dark clouds, which are causing aggression and chaos. They also repeatedly face Shadow Link and other minions of the Dark Mirror's thief. With all the maidens rescued, the Links reach the realm of the heavens where they find Princess Zelda. However, they also discover that the thief is none other than Ganon. He was reborn when the Gerudo Ganondorf touched the Trident of Power deep within the desert's pyramid. Ganon used the Dark Mirror to create an army of Shadow Links and plunged Hyrule into chaos. The Links face off against him in a final battle and defeat him using the Four Sword. The Shrine Maidens and Princess Zelda use their power to seal Ganon within the Four Sword. The 4 Links return the sword to its pedestal, merging back into one. Peace is restored to Hyrule, and the Links are hailed as heroes. Four Swords Adventures stands out in the series due to its multiplayer focus. Its gameplay revolves around players cooperating and occasionally competing to progress through stages and gather Force Gems, which power up the Four Sword. The Legend of Zelda. The Minish Cap, released for the Game Boy Advance in 2004, explores the origin of the Four Sword and introduces the Minish, tiny creatures, invisible to the eyes of adults. The game starts with a festival in Hyrule celebrating the Picori, also known as the Minish, a mythical race said to have given a sword, the Picori blade, and a magical light force to a hero who used them to repel darkness. During the festival, a mysterious figure wins the tournament and earns the right to touch the sacred Picori blade. However, this figure is the evil sorcerer Vati, who breaks the blade, releases monsters into Hyrule, and petrifies Princess Zelda. Link, the young protagonist, is chosen by King Daltus to reforge the Picori blade and defeat Vati. He receives a special hat named Eslo, who is actually a Minish cursed by Vati. Eslo gives Link the ability to shrink down to Minish size, enabling him to interact with the Minish and navigate the world from a tiny perspective. Link's quest leads him to gather 4 elements representing earth, fire, water, and wind. Each element is located in a different dungeon with various puzzles and enemies. Along the way, Link encounters and helps various characters, both human and Minish. As Link gathers the elements, the Picori blade is gradually reforged into the white sword. With all four elements, the blade becomes the four-sword, gaining the power to split the wielder into four copies. Meanwhile, Vati takes over Hyrule Castle, seeking the light force mentioned in Hylian legends. He believes it is a force that can grant him godlike power. In reality, the light force was passed down through Hyrule's princesses and is within Princess Zelda herself. Vati discovers this and drains Zelda's life force, transforming into a more powerful form. Link arrives in time for the final battle and defeats Vati, freeing Zelda and restoring her life force. With Vati defeated, Eslo is returned to his Minish form. As a token of gratitude, Eslo gives Link a green cap before returning to the Minish world, marking the origin of Link's iconic green hat. Peace is restored in Hyrule, ending Link's adventure. The Minish cap is known for its unique shrinking mechanic and the introduction of the Minish race, adding a new dimension to the lore of the Legend of Zelda series. The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, released for the GameCube and Wii in 2006, presents a darker and more realistic art style compared to its predecessors. It is set hundreds of years after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. The game begins with Link, a rancher in Orden Village, being tasked to deliver the Orden sword and shield to Hyrule Castle. However, on the way, he encounters a wall of twilight. A shadow beast pulls him beyond the wall, where he transforms into a wolf and is captured. In his cell, Link meets Midna, a mysterious imp-like creature from the Twilight realm. She helps him escape and guides him throughout his adventure. Link also learns that he is the hero chosen by the gods when he meets Princess Zelda in her hidden chamber in the castle. Link learns that Zant, the king of Twilight, has covered Hyrule in twilight, turning its inhabitants into spirits. To defeat Zant, Link must collect the fused shadows, powerful dark artifacts. As he travels between light and twilight, Link takes on a human form in the light and a wolf form in the twilight. Throughout his journey, Link restores light to the lands by retrieving tears of light and helps the spirits of light to defeat the shadow beasts. He also navigates through various dungeons to find the fused shadows. However, after collecting the last fused shadow, Zant appears and takes them. He embeds a shadow crystal in Link's forehead, forcing him to remain in his wolf form. He also exposes Midna to Lanayru, the light spirit, nearly killing her due to her being a creature of twilight. To save Midna, Link, guided by a spectral golden wolf, retrieves the Master Sword, which dispels the shadow crystal's magic and allows him to transform at will. They return to Princess Zelda, who sacrifices herself to heal Midna. The pair then seek the Mirror of Twilight, the only known connection to Zant's Twilight realm. They discover it's broken, and they must restore it by visiting several more dungeons and defeating the bosses within to retrieve the missing shards. Upon fully restoring the Mirror of Twilight, Link and Midna discover that Zant was only a puppet. The true enemy is Ganondorf, who was banished to the Twilight realm after his failed execution by the ancient sages. Link and Midna return to Hyrule, which is now under Ganondorf's control. In the final confrontation, they defeat Zant and then Ganondorf, freeing Hyrule from his influence. In the end, Midna returns to the Twilight realm, destroying the Mirror of Twilight to prevent any further misuse. Link returns the Master Sword to its pedestal and leaves his life as the chosen hero behind, returning to his life in Orden Village. The Legend of Zelda, Phantom Hourglass, released for the Nintendo DS in 2007, is a direct sequel to The Wind Waker. It continues the story of Link and Tetra, Princess Zelda, as they explore new seas. The game starts with Link and Tetra exploring a ghost ship. Tetra is kidnapped, and Link falls into the sea trying to save her. He wakes up on Mersey Island in the world of the Ocean King, a parallel world to Hyrule. Link meets Ciela, a fairy with amnesia, and an old man named Oshus, who guide him throughout his journey. To save Tetra, Link needs to find the ghost ship. He's given a steamboat, the SS Linebeck, captained by a man named Linebeck, to travel the seas. Link learns that to enter the ghost ship, he must locate 3 spirits: power, wisdom, and courage. To do this, Link must explore the Temple of the Ocean King, a dangerous, time-limited dungeon. He is given the Phantom Hourglass, a magical item that protects him from the temple's curse and extends his time within. Link navigates the temple and various other dungeons, gathering sea charts to explore new areas and find the spirits. After finding the spirits, Link boards the ghost ship and discovers Tetra turned to stone. He learns from Oshus that the ghost ship is controlled by a demon named Bellum, who feeds on life force. Oshus, revealed to be the Ocean King in human form, tells Link to find the 3 pure metals to forge the Phantom Sword, the only weapon capable of defeating Bellum. Link navigates more islands and dungeons to find the pure metals. After the Phantom Sword is forged, Link confronts Bellum in the Temple of the Ocean King. Bellum possesses Linebeck, but with Ciella's help, Link defeats Bellum and frees Linebeck. Grateful, Linebeck uses his one wish granted by the Ocean King to restore Tetra. After Bellum's defeat, Link, Tetra, and her pirate crew wake up on their ship in their own world, as if everything was a dream. However, Link finds the Phantom Hourglass still in his pocket, suggesting their adventure was real. The Legend of Zelda, Spirit Tracks, released for the Nintendo DS in 2009, continues the story of the Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, but is set a century later in New Hyrule, a land found by Tetra and her crew. The game starts with Link, an apprentice engineer traveling to Hyrule Castle to receive his engineer's certificate from Princess Zelda. She secretly gives Link a letter expressing her worries about the disappearance of the Spirit Tracks, rail lines that seal an ancient evil. On their way to investigate the Tower of Spirits, the central hub of the Spirit Tracks, they are intercepted by Chancellor Cole, who reveals himself as a demon. He severs the connection between Zelda's spirit and her body, planning to use her body to resurrect the Demon King, Malladus. Link wakes up in the castle and meets Zelda's spirit. Together they go to the Tower of Spirits, meeting Angean, a Lokomo, the protectors of the land. She explains that the Spirit Tracks were created to seal Malladus, and that to restore them, they must find the rail maps hidden in the tower. Link and Zelda navigate the tower, which has been split due to the loss of the Spirit Tracks. They retrieve the rail maps, which allow them to travel to new regions and find the temples necessary to restore the Spirit Tracks. Zelda also learns she can possess phantoms, armored enemies in the Tower of Spirits, which becomes a crucial mechanic for solving puzzles. They also gather the parts of the Spirit Flute, which is needed to keep Malladus sealed. Link and Zelda restore the Spirit Tracks, reconnecting the Tower of Spirits, and gather the Lokomos to play the Song of Restoration. However, they're too late to prevent Malladus from being resurrected in Zelda's body. Link and Zelda go on a quest to find the Compass of Light, which can locate Malladus. They navigate through the Dark Realm, rescuing Zelda's body, and with the power of the Spirit Flute and the Lokomos, Zelda repossesses her body. Link and Zelda battle Malladus on top of the demon train. With Zelda's help, Link drives the Bow of Light into Malladus, finally defeating him. With peace restored, Angean and the other Lokomos depart, their purpose fulfilled. Link and Zelda return to their normal lives, with Zelda resuming her duties as princess, and Link continuing his role as an engineer. Spirit Tracks is unique in the series for its train travel mechanic, cooperative gameplay with Zelda, and the continuation of the Wind Waker timeline in a new land. The Legend of Zelda. Skyward Sword, released for the Wii in 2011, is intended to be the first game in the Legend of Zelda timeline, explaining the origins of many elements in the series, including the Master Sword and the recurring struggle between Link, Zelda, and Ganon. The game begins in Skyloft, a city floating above the clouds. The inhabitants of Skyloft have lived there for generations and know nothing of the world below, which they believe to be uninhabitable. Link, a student at the Knight Academy, wins the annual Wing Ceremony, an event in which students participate in a bird riding competition. Zelda, his childhood friend, gives him the sailcloth as a prize, but a sudden tornado whisks her away to the world below. Link is led by a mysterious figure to the goddess statue, where he finds the goddess sword and meets Fi, the spirit residing in the sword. Fi guides Link throughout his journey, providing him with information and advice. Guided by Fi, Link descends to the surface and begins his search for Zelda. He learns that Zelda is on a journey to purify her body at the Earth Spring, Skyview Spring, and the Lake Floria Spring. Link learns that he needs to temper the goddess sword in the fires of the golden goddesses to transform it into the Master Sword. To do this, he must locate and conquer 3 dungeons, each holding a sacred flame. After infusing the goddess sword with the 3 sacred flames, it transforms into the Master Sword. Link returns to Skyloft and opens the Gate of Time within the goddess statue. He travels to the past and discovers Zelda in a deep sleep within a crystal. She reveals that she is the mortal incarnation of the goddess Hylia, destined to keep the demonic beast Demise sealed away. Meanwhile, in the present, Demise, in the form of the imprisoned, repeatedly tries to free himself. Link must periodically return to the sealed grounds to repel him. To eradicate Demise completely, Link needs the Triforce. He undertakes a series of trials to prove himself worthy of wielding it. Once he obtains the complete Triforce, he makes a wish for the destruction of Demise, causing the Isle of the Goddess to fall from Skyloft and crush the imprisoned, eradicating him completely. However, Girahim, Demise's servant, kidnaps Zelda and takes her to the past to resurrect Demise. Link follows and defeats Girahim, but not before he succeeds in resurrecting Demise. Link battles and defeats Demise in a one-on-one duel. Demise's residual consciousness is absorbed into the Master Sword, to be sealed away forever. Zelda decides to live on the surface, and Link agrees to stay with her, marking the beginning of the Kingdom of Hyrule. The Master Sword is placed in a pedestal to rest until it is needed again. Skyward Sword introduces elements like the stamina meter and more complex swordplay using the Wii Motion Plus accessory. It's also known for its origin story of the Master Sword and the establishment of the cycle of reincarnation of Link, Zelda, and Ganon. The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2013, is set in the same world as A Link to the Past, taking place many generations later. It introduces new mechanics and an alternate version of Hyrule known as Lorule. The game begins with Link, an apprentice blacksmith, delivering a sword to Hyrule Castle. Here he encounters Yuga, a sorcerer from Lorule who turns Ceres, a priest's daughter, into a painting. After Yuga defeats Link, a mysterious man named Ravio finds him and lends him a bracelet. Link learns from Princess Zelda that Yuga is planning to revive Ganon by capturing the descendants of the Seven Sages. Link fails to protect the remaining descendants, and Yuga successfully revives Ganon, merging with him to gain his power. To counter Yuga's power, Link needs the Master Sword. After getting it from the Lost Woods and enhancing it with the 3 pendants of virtue, he confronts Yuga in Hyrule Castle, but Yuga escapes to Lorule through a crack in the wall. Ravio's bracelet activates when Link tries to follow Yuga, allowing him to merge into walls as a painting. This becomes a crucial mechanic for puzzle solving throughout the game. In Lorule, a parallel world to Hyrule that's fallen into ruin due to the absence of its Triforce, Link meets Princess Hilda, who asks him to save the Seven Sages, who have been transformed into paintings by Yuga. As Link rescues each of the Seven Sages, they bestow upon him the Triforce of Courage. Once all the sages are freed, they use their power to grant Link access to Yuga in Lorule Castle. Here, Hilda reveals her plan to steal Hyrule's Triforce to restore Lorule, and she takes Zelda's Triforce of Wisdom. Yuga, however, betrays Hilda and takes the Triforces of Power and Wisdom for himself, leaving Link to battle Yuga Ganon. After Link defeats Yuga, it's revealed that Ravio is Link's Lorulean counterpart, who opposed Hilda's plan and sought help from Hyrule. Ravio convinces Hilda to relinquish the Triforce of Wisdom, and Zelda and Link return to Hyrule with the Triforce. Link and Zelda use a wish on the Triforce to restore Lorule's own Triforce, allowing Hilda and Ravio to begin rebuilding their kingdom. A Link Between Worlds is recognized for its non-linear gameplay, allowing players to tackle dungeons in any order, and the ability for Link to merge into walls as a painting. The Legend of Zelda, Triforce Heroes, released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2015, is a multiplayer-focused installment set in the Zelda series. It takes place in the Kingdom of Hytopia, a fashion-obsessed society distinct from Hyrule. The story begins with the stylish Princess Styla being cursed by a witch known as Lady Maud, causing her to wear an irremovable, ugly jumpsuit. This event casts a shadow over the fashion-obsessed Kingdom of Hytopia, leading King Tuff to send out a call for heroes who can lift the curse. Link, who happens to be visiting Hytopia, is chosen as one of these heroes due to his pointed ears, sideburns, and side-parted hair, the unique traits called for in the king's summons. Joined by 2 other Links, referred to as Doppels, our hero ventures into the Drablands, a dangerous territory where Lady Maud resides. The game is divided into several levels spread across 8 areas, each with a unique theme. The trio of Links must cooperate, using teamwork and various outfits that provide different abilities to complete puzzles and defeat enemies in each level. The outfits are a central mechanic of the game. By gathering materials in the Drablands, Link can have new outfits tailored back in Hytopia. Each outfit grants unique abilities or effects, such as increased arrow damage or the ability to swim faster. After the trio of Links conquer all the trials in the Drablands, they finally confront Lady Maud. However, they discover that she is merely an underling to the real antagonist, a stylish woman known as Lady Maud's master. It's revealed that she cursed Princess Styla out of jealousy, as she believed the people of Hytopia loved Styla's style more than hers. In the ensuing battle, the trio of Links defeat Lady Maud's master, lifting the curse from Princess Styla and restoring peace and style to Hytopia. With the curse lifted, Princess Styla regains her stylish sense of fashion, and the people of Hytopia rejoice. The heroes are celebrated, and their success is immortalized in a painting. Triforce Heroes is known for its cooperative multiplayer gameplay, where 3 players must work together to progress, and its unique focus on fashion and style as a central theme and mechanic. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, released for the Nintendo Switch and Wii U in 2017, introduces a vast open world and significant gameplay changes to the series. Its narrative is largely revealed through memories and takes place long after the other games in the series. The game begins with Link awakening in the Shrine of Resurrection, having lost all his memories. He is guided by a mysterious voice, later revealed to be Princess Zelda's, to a Sheikah slate, a device that assists him throughout his journey. Link emerges onto the Great Plateau, where the spirit of the deceased King Rome reveals Hyrule's plight. 100 years ago, Calamity Ganon appeared and seized control of the ancient technology the kingdom had unearthed, the divine beasts and guardians, turning them against Hyrule. Link fell in battle, and Zelda sealed herself and Ganon in Hyrule Castle, initiating the Sheikah Slate's resurrection shrine to save Link. Guided by the Sheikah Slate, Link leaves the plateau to liberate the divine beasts, massive machines initially intended to combat Ganon but now under his control. Each divine beast is linked to a different race in Hyrule: the Zora, Gorons, Rito, and Gerudo. Inside each divine beast, Link encounters the spirit of a deceased champion, Hyrule's heroes who fell in battle against Ganon. They grant him their unique abilities and request that he free the divine beasts. Link accomplishes this by navigating each divine beast like a dungeon, solving puzzles, and eventually reactivating the main control unit, which triggers a battle with a facet of Ganon's power. Throughout his journey, Link can recover his lost memories by visiting locations pictured on the Sheikah Slate. These memories reveal the events leading up to the calamity, including Link's appointment as Zelda's appointed knight, Zelda's struggles with her own powers, and the moments leading up to Link's defeat. Link can also obtain the Master Sword in Korok Forest, but only if he has enough heart containers, symbolizing his worthiness. After freeing all the divine beasts, Link can confront Calamity Ganon in Hyrule Castle. The freed divine beasts weaken Ganon before the fight begins. After a battle in the castle, Ganon transforms into Dark Beast Ganon, and Zelda gives Link the Bow of Light to help him defeat Ganon once and for all. Following Ganon's defeat, Zelda uses her sealing power to eradicate Ganon completely, expressing hope for Hyrule's restoration. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom was released on May 12, 2023 on the Nintendo Switch. An unknown period of time after the events of Breath of the Wild, Link and Zelda are exploring a secret passage hidden beneath Hyrule Castle. Although King Rome had warned Zelda in the past that not even the royal family was to go there, she believes that what lies beneath is connected to the strange phenomenon spreading throughout Hyrule known only as gloom. As they travel, they find ancient ruins that Zelda identifies as being of Zonai origin. They eventually find a mural depicting a great war against the being called the Demon King, the stories of which had been passed down by the royal family. Another mural shows the Zonai descending from the sky, which causes Zelda to realize that the gods that descended from the heavens to found the royal family must have been the Zonai. In the deepest chamber, Link and Zelda find an ancient mummy emanating gloom bound by a disembodied arm. As they enter, the arm falls off and drops a teardrop-shaped gem. As Zelda picks it up, the mummy comes to life and strikes with a surge of gloom. Link blocks the attack with the Master Sword, but the dark power decays the blade, saps Link's strength, and leaves his right arm blackened and lifeless. The mummy reveals that he knows Link and Zelda and mocks the former's inability to harm him, mentioning that someone called Rauru had entrusted him with something. The mummy sends a surge of gloom that causes Hyrule Castle to rise into the sky before falling deep underground. Zelda falls into a chasm as well, only to disappear in a flash of light. Link nearly falls in as well, but he's grabbed by the disembodied arm and teleported away. When he reawakens, he finds that the arm has replaced his own. A voice says that Zelda had told him about Link, and that Link's arm had to be replaced to ensure he did not die from his injuries. Recovering the remains of the Master Sword, he leaves the chamber he woke up in to find himself on an island floating in the sky. He descends to another island, meeting a steward construct who gives him Zelda's Pura pad at her request. It directs Link to the Temple of Time, but upon reaching it, Link finds that he cannot enter. He then meets a ghostly figure identifying himself as Rauru, who informs Link that the arm he now possesses was once his own, and that its power might be restored if Link visits 3 of the shrines on the island and gain their sacred light. After opening the gate, Link finds a larger teardrop-shaped gem that changes into an apparition of Zelda, granting him the recall power before vanishing. Link's path is then blocked by a second sealed door, which he lacks the vitality to open. Rauru advises Link to visit the island's last shrine and offer it to their goddess statue, which will restore some of the vitality he lost to the gloom. After doing so, Link is able to open the door. Rauru advises Link to continue visiting shrines to recover his strength before passing on, telling Link that it will be up to him to aid Zelda. At the highest point of the temple, Link finds a glowing light that reacts with the Master Sword. Placing it into the light, the sword vanishes and is received by Zelda in an unknown location. Link spots a dragon, which parts the clouds beneath the island to reveal the kingdom of Hyrule beneath it. He receives a telepathic message from Zelda asking him to find her, beginning his quest to save Hyrule once again. If you enjoyed this recap of the Legend of Zelda series and are interested in coming, please consider subscribing to stay updated. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.